Hi, Mark. Thanks
Hello,
for
mate.
joining us again. Um, Obviously, big game on the horizon.
hmm
Um, you've obviously been to a cup final at Wembley before.
hmm
What have you learned from that experience that you'll be able to use this time round?
That's a really good question because I think it's really important. What I've learned is to make it the occasion it is, and not nothing any bigger than that. Like when we were at Birmingham, I think we made a few mistakes in terms of we made it quite an emotional day. There were quotes everywhere. We tried to do it big, and what we're finding, this is business.
Yeah.
So as much as it's nice for us to make history and get there, it's for us to now make sure that we put a performance in that's worthy of taking the cup.
How you prepare the team for such a big match, and for some of them, their first final, and for some of them as well, their first time playing at Wembley.
I mean, we've already been doing that, mate, right?
Yeah,
So if I look at the big games that we've had this year, all the big events, big stadiums, big wins at the right time, I think we've been preparing. I said this to everybody last year. We need experience in this group, and we need to go through the tough times to experience that to grow and get better. I feel that we're doing that. I feel that we've done a little bit more of that this year. We're going to have to go through it. And somebody said, talking about uncharted territory for Manchester United. Well, how do you charter?
yeah,
And you have to go and charter it. You have to be brave enough to find what's going to happen and not always know. And I think what I've got to do, we've got to be brave.
yeah.
We're talking right now as a group about rebel red energy and what it feels like to rebel against what people tell us what we can and can't achieve. And I think that's a really good mindset going into this game. If people put Chelsea as favourites, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
For us, it's about performance. If we perform to the very best of our ability, we can beat anybody. And we know we've got to do that on this occasion.
Yeah.
Chelsea are the best in the league historically, so we have to be at our very best. But I think the preparation has been taking place, and I think
Yeah.
will continue to take place.
For you personally, what will it feel like leading out a Man United team at Wembley?
I mean, in the moment, it will feel unbelievable for the 2 or 3 minutes.
Yeah.
But you ask me what I've learned, and it's to not make it any bigger than that.
Yeah.
For me to represent you and the fans means the world. I genuinely mean that. But the reality is, I'm there to try and get us the cup and the trophy. And so we've got to stay alive in the moment. So as soon as we've walked out and we've done the things that we need to do, I'll be straight back into the dugout to get down to business. And I think that's how I can promise the fans that we'll try and give everything.
How do you, though, ensure that the players play the match and not the occasion?
I think it comes down to experience. It comes down to people. It comes down to us as we build up to the game, making them believe that actually we just have to play the game. We know what threats Chelsea have. Chelsea have been to more finals than us, so they've got experience. So we need to bridge that gap. But that's for me is how we talk to each other, how we support each other. What's going to be different for sure is that actually nobody will hear us on the pitch.
Yeah.
So it's players being ready, really prepared from us, but also taking ownership within those moments. So I think those will be the best ways for us.
But talking about the preparation, will
Mhm.
you prepare for this game differently than any other game this season?
Slightly differently. Nothing. We won't change anything too drastically. We've got a massive game against Tottenham the weekend, so we've got to perform in that one first. But no, we won't change too much. We will look at adaptations tactically for when's needed, and maybe how we'd message in the group, how we get messages onto the field at the right times if they can't hear us, how we pass those, and how we make them efficient. But nothing. It'd be slight adaptations tactically, but nothing too that drives us away from our performance. So no, the way that we stay strong and stay together is staying focused on what we usually do.
You have players in the squad who have already won a trophy
Mhm.
at Wembley in the last year with England, winning the Euros. How important is the experience they bring for the rest of that squad?
Do you know what experience brings us? It brings us a relaxation, a calmness of mind. I think that's when you go into something, you've already experienced it, so it's not as daunting as it usually would appear. So those would be the key factors. Even Tooney's scoring at Wembley is a massive thing. So I think we have players that have done that. The reason we went into the market the way we did in the summer was to bring some different experiences
Yeah.
to the group, some more maturity.
Yeah.
We had great energy, but when it comes to big moments, who was there to take them? So I think that we've got difference now and variance in that. But of course, it helps. But for me, the experience is allowing us to be calmer when we come in to actually do the job of trying to win the cup final.
So when you were younger,
Mhm.
what were your memories of the FA Cup final?
How younger? I
You
can't
tell me.
remember that far back. Um, well, to be honest, for the women's FA Cup final, obviously my experience, I've seen Laura be at FA Cup
Yeah,
finals. Um, from the men's experience, being a Villa fan, there wasn't often. But no, I often remember the Manchester United teams and how absolutely daunting they were in finals. And so I want to replicate that with the women's team
yeah.
in our own way, in their own way that our women's team can. But yeah, for me, I love the FA Cup, and again, I'm trying to now use my experience to go. There's part of the romantic in me that loves this moment,
Yeah.
but we're down to business. So I have lots of experiences of loving this, and for us, it's about trying to make it happen now.
Obviously, there are 8,000 United fans in the allocation, and many more dotted throughout the stadium. Uh, how can they play a role, and what can they do?
I mean, I'll just reflect back to the Villa game that recently just went by. We talk about our away contingent being obviously the best in the country. When it panned round from our tactical view, we are everywhere.
Yeah,
We infiltrate, even though we've got 8,000 tickets, there'll be many
yeah,
more Manchester United fans there. And what I'd urge and what we need, especially in moments in a final, is we need if we dip in tempo, in intensity for a second, because that happens in fluctuations
yeah,
of the game, that's when we need you.
yeah.
You know, we're going to give you absolutely everything to try and win it, but we need you in the moments where we need that energy and just that reminder of what we're here to do and how to do it. And so that's what our fans are brilliant at. And I'd ask them if they can bring that to a final at Wembley. I think that we can lift the roof off the place.
Hopefully, we've got more memorable moments to come before the end of the season.
Mm-hmm.
But do you have a favourite moment so far this season?
I've got a few, I think, the win against Arsenal and the both wins against Arsenal, the first time anyone's done a double in terms of a new team for a while. But I think it was the way we won those. It wasn't always pretty. It was moments of quality in the game. I think it's the Reading game where we come back and we've got to win it late. The Villa game recently where we've got to come back and win it. And that for me, I think those are the key learning, because I think you see growth in our team in those
Yeah.
moments. It's easy. Look, if you're playing well and you're so on and you score, everyone's scoring, sometimes those games become easy in our minds and we play fluidly. Actually, it's when you need to be counted on. It's those people stepping up. Those are the biggest. So those are 4 occasions, but there's plenty of occasions where we defended well and kept clean sheets, and like Mary's made magnificent saves. So, but the four that stand out are probably those.
Will you be able to enjoy the day at Wembley, or are you just going to run an autopilot?
Yeah, I think there'll be autopilot. Like, in all honesty, I think because I've set my mind already to business. You probably won't feel the romanticism of it as much, unfortunately. And as a fan, please, if you ever keep that, because it's hard for us to keep that as kind of
Yeah.
staff and so on. Should we go on to be successful, I'll bring that romanticism back in. Um, but the reality is, I want to do it, and I know the team want to do it so much for the fans that actually, no, I'd be disrespecting our fans if I turned away from my responsibility, which is to try and make sure we perform in every minute.
So this season is kind of unique because both senior teams are in the FA Cup final. Have you noticed any increase in interest from fans of the men's team to the women's team this year?
Do you know what? I've seen a massive interest all over, and this is from people outside of the football bubble. Actually, they know who our players are. They know what we're
Yeah,
doing. The messages I've had. I mean, I've had people messaging me from my past, and I'm talking like 15 years ago when I was in education,
yeah.
just saying how well the team are doing, how they're interested in it. But for me, I want to stay centered to the people that have been on the journey and continue to be on the journey, which is the fans.
Yeah.
So for us, we do it for you, for everyone involved, and any accolades around that, I mean, it means nothing until we continue to win something. For us, it's not just about winning it in isolation. We want to use our momentum, create momentum, and try and win for years to come and be a dominant team. That's my task, and it's something that stops me sleeping at night. But the reality is that's what I'm here to do. I'm willing to sacrifice so that we know we can give our fans many years of success.
If we win,
Mhm.
will you allow yourself time to celebrate on the day, or are you going to wait till the end of the season?
Or do you know what? I might have a beer.
Oh,
I
okay.
might have a beer. If we won, I might have a beer. But no, we've then got a big game against Manchester City.
Yeah.
So of course, huge game there. So yeah, look, I'm pretty good at allowing the players to feel once achieved. So there'll be a moment, I'm sure, but then we've got to get right back down to business.
As fans, we're all dreaming of what if, but how do you stay focused on the task ahead?
You should feel that way, by the way. You pay your hard-earned money, the hard-earned miles. You should feel that way. You should allow yourself to dream. As a head coach, I've got to just make sure that it's a mindset. You choose it. It's a choice. So I understand the pressures. I understand the pressures of the fans wanting success so much. I understand all of that. But me being the calm and allowing people to make better decisions is what I'm here to do. So I've chosen that. I think it's a skill set of mine that I've developed. And sometimes when it's an active choice not to be as energetic as sometimes, and then when I need to turn it on, I need to turn it on. So it's just I'm going to stay focused and try and give the dream a reality.
Okay. Finally,
Mhm.
have you allowed yourself a moment to think, though, what if?
What if we perform
What
well?
if
We
we win?
deserve a chance to win.
Yeah.
Yeah, look, of course. I'm human. So I want to win. I want this team to win. But we've got to beat a team that's been there and done it.
Yeah.
And let's not forget that. They're not going to roll over and give us anything. We've got to earn it. So what I want us to do is perform beyond our years and beyond the maturity levels. If we do that, then I think it will be a sustainable thing for years to come. So yes, I will allow myself to think there, but that is for literally a second a day, and then we're straight back on.
Thanks for giving us some of your time, Mark. It's much appreciated.
You're very welcome, and I love it when we do this.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, mate.